Would you look at that? All of a sudden, it's summer. And you know what that means? Deep house time. Of course, a repeating theme of my channel is, of course, the original vocals. Now, I went into my own studio and recorded these vocals. Pretty shit vocals. I don't know if I'm going to release it, but, you know, they're here. Now, of course, this is Walking on a Dream in 3 separate ways. Now, skip to the timestamps if you want to see a breakdown of how I made everything. I'm going to go ahead and start with the vocals. Main element here. A low quality YouTube acapella. I mean, you love to see it. You know, if music can be made like this, then what's the issue, my guy? This is just easy, quick, and fun. That's kind of the main thing too. With this, at least, I'm just here to have fun. So I have, as you can see, deleted everything below the lower mids. And then I have just added a little bit of depth because this is quite dreamy vocals and it sounds nice when you're using OTT with some depth. I've compressed the high end and kind of left it at that. Next up, the lower elements of the sort of bass of the vocal. As you can already tell, this is some sort of like TikTok remix of Walking on a Dream, so it's not even the OG. The vocal is there, but that melody is something else, I believe. So as you can see, I've lowered the volume of that a lot, and I've also deleted everything below the lower mids. And then I have basically just bandpassed the hell out of this to make it completely background with a bunch of reverb and stereo enhancer to put it on both sides of your ears, which all that does is just kind of delay the output from one ear to the other, so it sounds like it's wider. Strange guys, but there's some physics behind that. So together it sounds like this. Vocal layering, guys, we love to see it. Now lastly, another layer here, which is the high up layer by itself. Generally, I don't really like going that high up for vocals. It just sounds very chipmunky. Now, a good way to go around it sounding chipmunky is to get yourself a little altar boy, as in it's literally called little altar boy. You can pitch up using that. Now, the main thing, I didn't want to pitch up a vocal for the sake of having a vocal that's pitched up. I actually wanted to create something brand new with it. So without the effects, you hear this. Very chipmunky. With these effects, reverb, putting it way into the background, as you can see, the dry is practically gone, ladies and gentlemen. You see that? That's what I call a background offensive attack. Then here, the most fun part, I'm sort of like manually doing a really slow pattern granular synthesis type idea. I see Skrillex doing this a lot and I love Skrillex, as you should. So here's what I do. I open Fruity Balance and I create these little shark fin shapes, and you can make it in whatever time pattern you'd like, but this just sounds really nice. Of course, it's in correlation with the BPM. Very nice. And Quentin, what happens when you layer that? It's almost as if it's the same song. So now with a little sidechain, which we'll get to later, which right now has no purpose, but as you can see, I'm actually not routing the main vocal into the sidechain fully. That's just because I like clarity and I like to be able to hear what the vocalist is saying. For that reason also, I've cut the lows of the main vocal, because if you have lows in your vocal and you don't sidechain those lows, chances are, especially in like electronic music, you're going to be interfering with the bass and the sub. You don't go there, fam. Next up, I loved the way I've created this granular idea. So I thought, what can I do to like sort of recreate that in a way that I enhance it? So I made this using Quanta. Now this is not me shouting out Quanta, but I am shouting out Quanta because it's sick. It's this like granular synthesis sort of thing. And I think it does cost money, but you can, and you didn't hear this from me, but you can just download it for free, make something and then record it, like consolidate it, and then you won't have to use Quanta. So right here, we got this. So what What is that? How do you do that, Quinn? So basically, I just went into Splice, found myself any vocal sample. This one in specific, let's see, I believe it is Prepare to Be Amazed, because this is sounding nothing like what I just hold up. Here we go. When I'm loving you. It's not even in the right key. I believe this is F key. I'm not quite sure though. But I've loaded that in and I've taken this chop right here. But just turn off the oscillator because you don't want that. You don't want the oscillator. It just loops like that tiny sprite of vocal, or whatever you put in there for that matter, effect, but I put vocal, of course. And so we're kind of recreating this. Layer that with our quanta. And then I just consolidated that in. We got this. So what you can see here, I've called it a quanta mod, but all it is it's just a fruity balance. Modulating the volume, following kind of a similar shape to our samples modulation. Okay, next up, just because it's a short element, I created this little thing that recreates that sample that you hear and love. Drums, very simple, heavy and slow drums. We're at 122 BPM. So we've got ourselves a punchy kick that I've actually shortened. Let's hear the original. As you can hear, that bass goes on for a really long time. The reason why I shorten it is because it allows me to add a bass on that drum kick. So if you hear... But of course, you want to go ahead and just mute that bass line as we... I might even in focus, I haven't even checked that. You want to mute that bass line as we hit the kick. So sidechain the bass line. Wow, that's clean. I'm very proud of that. And now we got this like reverberated clap. Very short, but not too short. The length of a clap matters a lot. It's like one of the most important things in your drums. Everything else doesn't really matter too much. Like this is a really basic drum loop, which then evolves into... just some percussion following our groove. If you divide a beat into 6 bits, all right, we can do that. We can do that. No, we literally cannot do that. Oh, we can do that. If we divide a beat into 6, the last sixth is, you know, for example, the groove. So we don't break down a beat into 4, we break it down into 6. Makes any sense? Capiche? And then, of course, our infamous bass line. If you recognize it, you recognize it. If you don't, you don't. It's from Euphoria, not the show, the song by Boys Noise. In my opinion, that's like the main element. Like without that, the song doesn't feel like it's dropped yet. Even in the most exciting bit. It's like we're waiting for something, and so hence... And of course, it's just following the bass notes. I mean, a little bit of musical theory is needed, but if you can just understand musical theory visually, as I have, you're good. You don't really need to have a Charlie Puth ear for it. You just need to trial and error, put that bass note through every single note until it sounds right. And if it doesn't, then one of your elements is probably out of tune, or 2 elements aren't in tune. So you're trying to like fit it to one of them, but whenever you do, the other one sounds out of place. Go through your elements, go through your melodical elements all over again. What also could be is your kick is too long, because the sub of a kick is melodic. So when you have a long sub, you'll more often be able to hear whether your kick is in tune or not. Now, I haven't tuned this kick, but because it's kind of snappy, you can't tell me you notice. But usually I do tune my kick. Fuck you, deadmau5. I do it anyway. And then lastly, this little shidazzle over here, I don't even know. It's a drum roll. I mean, it's just a splice sample. It's a drum roll. Anyway, boys, I think that's about breaking it down. I might just publish this on SoundCloud because I want to hear this as I go around, roam the city. But as with any video on this channel, it is free to download, free to use. You can publish it, you can remix, you can do whatever the hell you want with it. If you want to send me your links, go onto my Discord server. I have a demo submission chat over there, and a lot of people are just sharing their demos. I will react to those in an upcoming video. So once again, join the Discord community. If not, otherwise download this FLP for free, no problem. Have fun, publish it, and I'll see you guys real soon.